Welcome to Rauta's Old School Death Metal Reviews. This one is a band from Italy called Dead Chasm. There are no previous recordings listed by this very band, so we can safely assume it's very new, and even more so kind of a result of the COVID era side project kind of a thing. That is, this trio of the band has plenty of other bands and projects already out there, even old school death metal ones, so one can only guess why there is a need to do yet another project with new name and all that stuff. And I would like to say new style, but given that this is old school death metal, can't really call it new. This is almost like going back to 1990s or even late 80s as far as the thing here goes. 3 own tracks plus Nirvana 2002 cover. Mind you, Nirvana 2002 is old school death metal also, even though the name is kind of easy to be confused with the American grunge band. But before we go talk about music, let's wonder a little bit, let's roast it. What the hell is Dead Chasm? I mean, I would understand if it was Chasm of the Dead or Chasm of Death or something like that, but Dead Chasm, I mean, chasms are not living organisms to begin with. Let's call it a lost in translation kind of a thing, and let's not worry about it. So this band comes from Italy. 3 members, and style is indeed old school death metal. And the thing here is, there is nothing exactly new or original with this given style, so why would this be worth listening to? Now, the reasoning to that is something that I cannot pretty much put my finger on it, but I can explain it this way. If you do like old school death metal, there are very dark ways and also very heavy ways, and you don't mind a little bit of a tempo changes from almost like doomy slowiness to rather energetic, faster parts, this could be really your cup of tea. Now, if you remember or watched my yesterday's review video about the same labels, FDA Records, other old school death metal band Feces Christ, you might already recognize that I'm talking about old school death metal band in a positive way, whereas with that review I was quite negative because the result was very mediocre with nothing exactly new. Now, Dead Chasm might not be a great release or great band at this point, but this is definitely a lot better than Feces Christ, even though they're roughly from the same area or style, genre, ballpark that is. Both are doing old school death metal, but where Feces Christ is kind of a more death and roll, Dead Chasm is almost at some parts like doom death, but it's more just old school death metal with very heavy sound, kind of a down-tuned guitars, and you know, the kind of a vocals that come from a cave or whatever. As such, it's nothing new, nothing absolutely new. I mean, it's almost like going back to late 80s, early 90s kind of a death metal when things were quite simple. I mean, you didn't have complex riffs or technical drumming that much. I mean, there were already bands like Death and stuff like that all around. But with Dead Chasm, it's like antithesis to what these modern bands, you know, when super technical or either very, you know, gory and brutal ways like Cannibal Corpse and stuff. This is almost like, okay, let's make it simple. Let's have those really simple chords and really simple riffs, and we can just play with the tempo to create more diversity rather than just repeat 3 songs exactly the same ways. Now, the thing here is, this is only 19 minutes, well, almost 20 minutes of death metal, so it actually helps you to not get bored of the whole style, because this is pretty much something that you've heard a million times by now. That is, if you're an older fan of the style. If you're new to the game and you must actually feel this kind of a fresh take on the old school ways, but really this is something that you heard a million times, and that is the only reason why I'm not really praising this much, because while this could have been fresh in 1991, hardly nowadays. But there's something more in the dark atmosphere with this album that is kind of very likable. So the guitar sound might not be the best, and the sound might not be, you know, something phenomenal, but this is somewhat enjoyable. Maybe because it takes me back in good ways, but also because it's not just boring songwriting. And that's what counts when we're talking about bands that go kind of a retro in their style. So if you're old school death metal, there's no reason to not check this one out. If you then again never liked old school death metal, I don't think this is gonna change your opinion about it, because there is nothing exactly new or groundbreaking with the style. But definitely worth listening to if you're into the style, so check out the links provided. And what can I say? I hope you like it. It's interesting band, and let's see if they have the potential to do a proper full album with more diversity than this one. Now, ciao, and see you soon with more reviews getting away.